Welcome on inside, voice of the nation, Fast Break. My name is David Brickley, as always, joined by Kevin Figures and Jason Riley. Kobe Bryant did something pretty big as of late. He passed Shaquille O'Neal for number 5 all-time leading scorer in NBA history. He did it in Philadelphia, his hometown, and Shaquille O'Neal automatically comes out on Twitter, Kevin, and he says that not only is Kobe the best Laker of all time, but himself, along with Kobe, the best duo of all time.
It's an interesting point to make. Best Laker of all time is a different debate altogether. Yeah. But best duo of all time, I'm not going to go that far. One of the best, sure, but there's a guy named Scottie and a guy named Jordan that played out in Chicago.
Okay.
They weren't that bad. 6 NBA championships. When the two of those guys were together with the core pieces, they never lost. They never lost in the NBA Finals. They lost that one series against Orlando when Jordan came back and played the last, quarter of the season. He wasn't Michael Jordan back then. When those two guys were together in their prime together, they didn't lose to anyone. That was probably the most dominating duo in NBA history, in my opinion.
I'm going to side with Shaq here because I think, Kobe made a good point with the interview this week. He said that there hasn't been 2 alpha males on a team like that, ever. And Kobe and Shaq were both alpha males. Nobody wanted to give a little. You talk about Michael and Scottie. Scottie definitely tailored his game to fit better with Jordan. Jordan was definitely the alpha male on that team. With that Laker team, they won 3 championships together. A lot of people said they could have won more, but you had 2 alpha males on the court at the same time that could have led a team to a championship, but they did it together.
When I think of the Shaq-Kobe era, though, I don't think happy thoughts per se. I think what could have been and not necessarily what was. I think there's 2 guys that played in Laker jerseys maybe 15 years before that were the best duo in Laker history and in NBA history, and that was Magic and Kareem. Between those 2 guys, they have 9 MVP awards. 9.
Right.
They won 5 NBA championships. I think you got to go Magic and Kareem. People forget. I know it's a little old school, but I like them as the best duo in NBA history.
I don't put as much credence in the MVP awards. Let's face it, Steve Nash had just as much as Kobe and Shaq combined. Does that make any sense at all?
Oh, yeah, pretty great years. But the thing that hurts Magic.
When you go down to history, you're going to
Sure.
think Steve Nash and then Kobe and Shaq. No,
Right.
Of course not. So I don't put as much credence in the MVP awards. What I will say is no other duo that played on the same team is as high as Kobe and Shaq are on the all-time scoring list. Number 5, number 6. I mean, you go look at Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, you're talking about the 15th and the 21st all-time scorer. 5 and 6 is pretty legitimate offensively. I'll say offensively, I'll make an argument that they're the best offensive duo that could have carried team on their back better than anybody.
Sure, if you're going off of pure numbers, though, but if you're talking about guys who can work off of each other and play well off each other, which they did do, Michael and Scottie were 2 of the best as well. Like, Scottie didn't have the greatest numbers, but Scottie played his role and played it well and complimented Jordan the perfect way.
Is Scottie a top 50 NBA player without Jordan on his teams?
It's very possible he could have been. He almost went to the NBA Finals without Michael Jordan
Right,
that 1 year he was out. So, of course, Scottie Pippen could have led a team.
I just think Kobe and Shaq separately could take teams to an NBA championship in their prime, which Kobe proved that against Orlando and Boston. These other guys, Kareem was a lot older in his career. A lot of his prime was in Milwaukee. Magic kind of carried Kareem in the later part of his careers in the late 80s. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that I watch all their games, so it's kind of hard for me to go back to the Kareem Magic days. But as far as, I'll use this word again, alpha males, 2 guys offensively that, some of the best ever.
But you look at Shaq and Kobe, and here's my thing is, from 2000 to 2002, and those 3 years they were together, most dominant duo ever.
Yep.
But does 3 years constitute, 8 years or 10 years with Magic and Kareem, or, even with Michael and Scottie? I don't think so. Yeah, for 3 years they were great, but if you look at what happened before and after that, I don't think you can say that. Yeah, maybe together, obviously individually, they were great talents, great players, and probably the 2 best players maybe on the list, but as a duo together, I don't see that.
You can't argue. I understand, obviously, when 2 guys win 6 championships, 3 different three-peats, it's very hard to argue against you. Again, I will say my main argument is that with Kobe and Shaq, these are 2 guys that were both in the prime of their careers. They were both, out there scoring 30 points a game. With Michael and Scottie, it was very obvious Michael was the alpha male on that team. Scottie did whatever he had to do to help the team win. Same with Kareem. Magic was definitely the guy to go to, and Kareem older, a little later in his career. Kobe and Shaq were both peaking at the same exact time, and it proved to be a deadly combo.
And they won less because of that.
Right.
But because there was, with Kareem and with Magic, there were defined roles. With
they
Jordan,
never defined
Jordan
roles.
and Pippen, there were defined roles. Shaq and Kobe, I'm the superstar. No,
Exactly.
I'm the superstar, and that's why they didn't win as often as
it was interesting
those
what Kobe
did.
said in an interview this week. You don't see that. You don't see 2 alpha males on one team, and we found a way to win 3 championships, even though we wouldn't concede. Nobody would say, okay, go ahead and take a big fella, go ahead and take a young fella. It was, we're going to battle and see who could.
I would disagree in a sense. I think Shaq was the clear alpha male on that team. You see it in the Finals MVPs. Shaq won all 3 Finals MVPs. Shaq was the best player in the league. He won an MVP when he played with Kobe. I think Shaq was clearly the alpha male. Now, what Kobe's done
but Kobe's
since
dropping
then,
40 against Indiana. I mean, a guy like Scottie, possibly Kareem, later on in his career, I don't know if he does that. So that's what I mean.
Well,
Kobe,
they had big games.
The only reason
Scottie would have a big game.
I think the
Kareem
only
would have a
reason
big game.
Shaq was, like you say, was the alpha male per se, not because of he was so much better than Kobe, but just the opportunities.
right, I would agree with that.
We all make decent points. Who's the best duo of all time? That we'll go ahead and ask you guys that. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below who is the best duo ever. We forgot guys like Jerry West and Elvin Baylor. Those Celtic teams are pretty damn good as well. So comment below who's the best duo in NBA history. For Kevin Figures and Jason Rowley, my name is David Brickley for Voice of the Nation Fast Break.